So basically, this guy's yandere wife injects a mysterious drug into his arm while he's asleep just to stop him from divorcing her. She knocks him out with a drugged cloth, and when he finally wakes up, he is locked inside her basement. She is literally sitting on him with this completely wild, obsessive smile on her face. Our boy is crying tears of pure humiliation, yelling at her to untie him so they can go 300 rounds. This crazy wife even cooks him massive stamina soups every single day to keep him going. He is absolutely exhausted from the torture, but the moment he finally finds a chance to escape, she catches him. She drags him right back and gently caresses his face. Smiling, she drops a massive bomb. She is pregnant, and if he runs again, she is breaking his legs. Liu Ruyan was supposed to be his contract wife, but that contract was absolute trash. Alright, so after 3 whole years, the red circle on his calendar finally lands on the last day. Lin Xuan breathes a massive sigh of relief, feeling like a heavy weight is finally lifted from his chest. For 3 years, he helped her deal with her family constantly pressuring her to get married. He basically swatted away all the annoying rich suitors who were constantly buzzing around her. She paid the cash and he did the job. It was a fair trade, and with that money, his own little business actually started thriving, giving him a real career of his own. But now, her famous childhood crush, Ji Boxiao, has finally returned to the country in style. Seeing their cozy pictures together on social media, Liu Ruyan looks incredibly happy and glowing. They look perfect together, so our boy decides it is time for this tool to exit the stage. When printing the divorce papers, he literally bolds the line stating he wants absolutely nothing. He does not want a single penny of her family's money. The luxury villa is hers. The sports cars are hers, and he never once planned to keep any of it. Humming a little tune, he neatly packs the papers right into his briefcase. Tonight is the final showdown. Finally, he can just be himself. He gives himself a quick pep talk in the mirror, then heads to the living room. Liu Ruyan is sitting on the sofa, elegantly sipping red wine as he walks in. Without even looking up, she hears him say they need to have a serious talk. He places the divorce papers right on the coffee table, reminding her that their 3 years are up. This is the agreement. Take a look. If there are no issues, just sign it. He is leaving with absolutely nothing. He tries his best to sound completely calm, even adding a touch of relieved lightness to his voice. She set her wine down. Slowly, she picked up the papers. He expects her to just nod or say some polite goodbyes, but then the divorce papers are instantly ripped to shreds, scattering like snow in her hands. Pure shock. Lin Xuan asks what she is doing. 3 years of holding back almost explodes in this single moment because he is completely done. She stands up with this incredibly eerie, unreadable smile playing on her lips. Cold and mocking, she tells him that she is the only one who decides when this ends. There is absolutely none of her usual cold, distant CEO vibe left in her eyes. Instead, it is pure, unhinged obsession that sends shivers straight down his spine. He snaps, reminding her the contract clearly stated 3 years, and asks if she is backing out now. His chest heaves with anger, wondering if this woman has completely lost her mind. Her childhood crush is literally back, so why is she keeping him around as a third wheel? She calmly tells him that she is the one who makes the rules here. Her voice is incredibly dominant. Now, she simply does not want to divorce. Our boy can only point at her, completely speechless. Talk about being absolutely unreasonable. What an absolute joke. Seriously, what is her problem? Using him and throwing him away is one thing, but she is treating him like a complete clown. He is absolutely fuming right now. If she is not signing, then he is done talking. Lin Xuan scoffs, telling her he is not staying in this trash house for another second before marching upstairs. He packs his few sad belongings, thinking this might actually force her to reflect. Maybe put some pressure on her. Yeah, right. Looking back, he was hilariously naive. Liu Ruyan just stood in the middle of the living room. She watched his back as he went upstairs, totally silent, but her eyes. They locked onto him like cold steel hooks until he finally dragged his suitcase back downstairs. Suddenly, she spoke. She warned him that the outside world is dangerous and he will regret this. Her voice was soft, but it pierced right through him like a freezing needle. He did not look back. He walked right out of the home he lived in for 3 years, though a sudden chill shook his soul. She was acting way too weird today, and a terrible feeling of dread started creeping up on him. At the time, though, he just wrote it off as her usual rich girl attitude. Just her being difficult. Still, her refusing to sign those divorce papers? It felt like a heavy rock pressing on his chest, making him angrier by the second. After leaving the villa, he checked into a cheap hotel to clear his head. He was still trying to figure out how to crack her stubborn skull. And then, boom, an unexpected visitor shows up. How did Ji Boxiao even find his hotel? Obviously, she told him. He shows up wearing a custom suit, though his face is sickly pale. He glares at him like he is absolute trash. Hearing that Ruyan refused to divorce him, the sheer smugness in his voice is ready to burst. None of your business, Lin Xuan snaps back. The guy just lets out an incredibly fake laugh. He says it makes sense since Lin Xuan is just a gold digger Ruyan got bored of. His veins are popping. This clown came just to annoy him. But do not worry, the guy says, taking a step closer. He whispers with pure arrogance. Ruyan will be back with me soon anyway. We are actually a match made in heaven. Just get out of our way. At this point, 3 years of bottled up anger. And honestly, he completely snaps. He throws a massive punch straight into that pretty boy face. Ji Boxiao definitely did not expect this. The hit dazes him instantly, sending him stumbling back several steps. His nose is instantly bleeding. He holds his face in total disbelief. So what if I hit you? Lin Xuan immediately steps forward and delivers a brutal kick that folds him completely in half. He curls up like a cooked shrimp. Coming here to show off? Man, he has wanted to beat this guy up for years. For 3 years, Liu Ruyan kept bringing up this white moonlight, treating Lin Xuan like some backup. Now he grabs Ji Boxiao by the collar and yanks him up. Listen closely, Ji Boxiao. My business with Ruyan is not about me refusing to let go. He tells them to warn Ji Boxiao. If he talks trash again, he is getting folded on sight. Our boy punches the gold-rimmed gases right off Ji Boxiao's face. Humiliation at its finest. The bodyguards try to step up. One glare shuts them down. Typical rich kid. All show, zero game. He scrambles away like a coward, screaming the classic line to watch his back. Our boy just laughs it off. But just 2 days later, the clown comes back for more. He hires generic thugs with cheap tattoos. They corner our guy downstairs, asking if he is the one who touched their boss. The leader points a baseball bat at him. Our boy literally just laughs. Not even enough for a warm-up. He wipes them out in seconds. Everyone is crying on the floor. Ji Boxiao is just watching from afar. His face goes completely pale as our main character slowly walks over. The guy tries to bolt. Too late. Another brutal beatdown. This time our boy really does not hold back. Ji Boxiao will be stuck in bed for weeks. Now, he avoids our guy like the plague, absolute terror in his eyes. During one banquet, he spots our boy and literally drops his drink. He runs away, completely traumatized. Our boy figures since he defended his wife Liu Ruyan's honor. By destroying her favorite guy, she might finally show him some respect. He just wants her to sign the divorce papers. He tries everything to wear her down, begging her to just let him go. He beat her childhood crush to a pulp, so why keep him around? But she just stares in dead silence. Completely stubborn, our boy is losing his mind. But wait, just as he is losing hope, a massive plot twist happens. They're invited to a major business event together as a model couple. But the moment it ends, the masks come off. He brings up the divorce again, demanding to know what she wants. He begs her to just be honest. Silence. It takes so long, he thinks she will ignore him, but she finally whispers, "Fine." She agrees to sign. Our boy freezes, doubting his own ears. He asks her to repeat it. She calmly confirms. Her face is completely blank. His heart skips a beat. Absolute pure hype. Finally! These 3 long years are over. But before he can even celebrate, he catches her look. How to describe it? Super creepy. Her gaze is like a bottomless lake, hiding something dark.
There is even a hint of excitement as she agrees to sign. His mind is spinning. He cannot believe his ears.
After 3 years of suffering, her saying yes feels unreal. Hearing her agree is music to his ears, but then she adds a twist. With a mysterious smile, Liu Ruyan suggests they grab a final meal before she actually signs. Just a quick farewell dinner. And he agrees. Seriously, as long as she signs, Lin Xuan does not care. Even a massive royal feast would be completely fine with him, but he still feels a bit suspicious. Did this toxic woman actually find a conscience? Dinner is served at her massive villa, right at the long dining table. The setup is absolutely gorgeous, featuring his favorite dishes. Shockingly, she is super quiet tonight. She even pours him some wine, softly asking how his business has been lately. This is completely different from her usual cold, distant politeness when they first met. It makes him pretty uneasy. But our boy is just so blinded by the thought of his upcoming freedom. He doesn't think too much, assuming it is just the calm before the storm. Or maybe it's just her final polite act. She finishes eating, stands up, and tells him to follow her. Go to my study so I can grab a pen. Papers are ready. Lin Xuan immediately pulls out the divorce agreement from his briefcase, his literal golden ticket to freedom. Today, something feels completely off in this room. There is this strange, unexplainable scent lingering in the quiet air right now. She sits behind her desk, calmly taking the contract and the pen from his hand. His heart is racing. He stares. She keeps her eyes lowered, long eyelashes casting a soft, gentle shadow. And finally, after what feels like a lifetime of waiting, she actually puts the pen to paper. She smoothly signs her name, Liu Ruyan. In that exact moment, he freezes. It feels like a massive 3-year weight is finally lifted right off his chest. She slides the signed paper over and quietly tells Lin Xuan that he is finally free. Lin Xuan reaches out. His fingers almost touch the paper, but then a sudden, terrifying shift happens. Liu Ruyan's other hand moves like lightning, pulling something sharp from the desk drawer.
It is a syringe.
His pupils shrink instantly as a wave of cold dread rushes straight up his spine. He tries to dodge, but she is just too fast. No sluggish movement here. Instead, she acts like a highly trained secret agent with absolutely zero hesitation. She plunges the sharp needle deep into his right side, making him gasp. He instinctively tries to break away, but she pins his arm down with an insane grip. She ruthlessly pushes the fluid all the way in, and intense dizziness instantly hits his brain. Everything goes weak.
He grits his teeth, demanding to know what she just injected. His eyelids grow incredibly heavy, but she does not even answer him.
Instead, she quietly pulls out a white handkerchief that seems to carry a strange, sweet scent. She covers his mouth.
But his remaining strength drains away and his vision starts to blur.
Everything spins. He actually believed she would let him go so easily, and now everything fades to black.
It is Liu Ruyan, leaning in close, her lips curl up.
She wears a twisted, seductive smile. Underneath, a terrifying, thick obsession. She whispers his name like a straight-up demon. Ever since they signed that contract 3 years ago, she wanted this. To lock him away forever. Before he blacks out, he hears her soft, satisfied chuckle.
It sounds like poisoned honey. Absolute chills.
What a psycho! When he finally wakes up, a sweet scent drifts in.
Wait, no, creepy basement instead.
Heavy iron chains pin his hands and feet. Chained spread eagle to a bed, and right there is Liu Ruyan.
She is hovering over him in a loose silk nightgown.
Messy hair, hot breath. She whispers, "Hubby, you are awake?" Her soft voice gives him an incredibly creepy vibe. Pure, satisfying madness. Just as he tries to speak, his throat is bone dry. Shh, she presses a finger to his lips. Don't worry if you can't remember. But leaving? No way. Her gorgeous eyes shimmer, saying they have so much to do.
Like closing a multi-million-dollar deal. Then, darkness again. He wakes up to a soft, female voice.
It drifts from above with a lazy, playful giggle. He jolts.
Yep, it is Liu Ruyan sitting by the bed.
She is in her familiar silk robe holding red wine, swirling it gently.
It glows eerily in the dim room.
Completely different from her usual cold CEO self.
Her eyes flash with a look he has never seen. Pure obsession as she leans down close. Her warm, wine-scented breath brushes his face. Mixed with her perfume, she whispers his name softly. Like a lover's secret, she mentions their 3-year contract. She pauses, her lips curving into that twisted smile. Creepy as hell. She wanted this from the start. His eyes widen. "You are insane! Let me go!" But his voice is weak from the drugs. She ignores him entirely, lost in her own world. Her eyes curve into crescents, hiding terrifying possessiveness. "Lock you in my private basement," she says. Cold fingers trace his cheek, giving him instant goosebumps. Lock him up forever. Bro, this woman is officially insane. Don't worry, hubby. You will get used to it. She whispers so softly, treating him like some spoiled little kid who doesn't know any better. But she warns him he can never leave, her eyes flashing with a seriously dangerous light. Then she just smiles, and honestly, that smile is packed with pure obsessive madness. She sets down her glass, while Lin Xuan desperately tries to break free. He rattles his chains like crazy, but that potent drug still has him completely paralyzed. He can barely muster any strength and literally cannot move a single muscle. All he can do is watch her do whatever she wants as his body starts reacting.
He's literally forced to start enjoying this insane situation, which is just so humiliating.
A grown man being played like a toy by this girl? This is wild. Humiliated tears stream down his face. Sure, she is doing all the work, but still. Where is his dignity as a man when he's literally strapped down to the bed? He just lies there crying tears of total shame while the whole thing happens. Through it all, she keeps staring down at him with this insanely obsessed, fanatical gaze. It is like she is admiring her absolute favorite, one-of-a-kind prized possession. This girl is a total lunatic, a legendary-level yandere with zero chill. He has no idea how he even attracted a psychopath like this in the first place. From then on, Lin Xuan truly learns the definition of a living hell. That absolute psycho Liu Ruyan comes down to visit him on a strict daily schedule. Calling it a visit is a joke. She is basically there to drain him completely dry. He honestly feels like he is going to be completely ruined by her sooner or later. She is more punctual than a desk job, but the most humiliating part is the feeding. At first, he shuts his mouth and refuses to eat, but she does not even get mad. She just gives him this incredibly creepy, gentle smile and calls him her hubby. She tells him he has to eat or they won't have energy for their nightly workouts. Faced with starvation and her overwhelming dominance, he eventually breaks and gives in. His pride is shattered into a million pieces, and the feeding is only the beginning. Honestly, the absolute worst part is the insanely ridiculous stamina soup she forces on him. We are talking morinda root, horny goatweed, and tons of goji berries, mixed with cordyceps, Chinese knotweed, and all sorts of wild energy herbs. She even throws in deer whip, bullwhip, and probably some rare tiger parts too. Where on earth did this girl find a recipe this wild? Every single day, he has to drink a giant bowl of this stinky, pitch-black sludge. She tells him she lovingly brewed this special medicine just for her favorite hubby. She smiles like a perfect wife, but inside, Lin Xuan is literally screaming in rage. When he tries to spit it out, she pinches his chin and forces it down. His stomach is screaming, but his body actually starts feeling strangely energized. It is a completely fake, hollow energy, but under the constant influence of these potions and her daily torment, his body actually starts to adapt to the crazy routine. He even starts finding a twisted sense of pleasure in it, and he absolutely hates himself for it. Yet the mental torture is like a dull knife slowly slicing away at his sanity. Every single day is an endless loop of this twisted, forced domestic bliss. When she isn't busy tormenting him, Liu Ruyan actually acts like a completely normal girlfriend.
She cuddles close, resting her head gently on his chest, whispering his name.
She murmurs that he smells amazing and belongs only to her. Her soft, gentle voice promises that he will never, ever be allowed to leave.
Her voice is soft as a feather, but her words, they carry a terrifying weight of total control, sending shivers down Lin Xuan's spine.
He tried to fight back, pulling with all his might against those heavy chains. The loud, clanking sounds echoed sharply in the dead silence of the basement. But his wrists and ankles only ended up raw and bleeding, while Liu Ruyan just stared at his injuries.
Her eyes would grow even darker as she muttered, "Husband, you are being very bad today."
What followed was always worse punishment, until he finally gave up the useless struggle.
He forced himself to calm down, silently watching her.
He studied her patterns and memorized every corner of this wretched basement.
He was desperately searching for any slight chance of escape. Then, one day, she seemed to be in a great mood. After finishing her routine, she actually unlocked one of his hands, smiling and calling him husband. She placed a bowl of rice on the nightstand and told him to feed himself today. Then she just stood there, watching him, and that tiny bit of sudden freedom made his heart pound like crazy as a small spark of hope flared up in his chest. He slowly raised his free hand, awkwardly picking up the chopsticks to eat. The food tasted amazing, but the hope was instantly shattered when she locked his hand back up for the next meal. She leaned in close, whispering, "Let me feed you instead, husband. I prefer it this way." That tiny spark of hope was completely snuffed out, day after brutal day. This dark, windowless basement became his personal hell, and Liu Ruyan was the gorgeous, completely psychopathic warden holding all the keys. And honestly, this yandere is next-level crazy. Today's a bit different, even though Liu Ruyan arrives just like usual, entering this dim basement in her signature elegant silk nightgown. The air is filled with that same heavy, sickening perfume that always makes his head spin. As she smoothly starts her usual routine, he prepares himself for another round of humiliation. He is used to the process by now, but this time her expression makes his blood run cold. It is no longer her usual smug, satisfied look, but something incredibly twisted. Her eyes are completely out of focus, as if she is lost in some bizarre, euphoric dream. She suddenly leans down, her burning hot lips brushing right against his ear. In a trembling, breathless whisper, she mutters, "Lin Xuan, did you know?" It is fine if you do not remember, but 3 years ago, I decided it had to be you. Those words, 3 years ago, hit him like a lightning bolt, shattering his foggy thoughts. 3 years ago was exactly when they signed that garbage marriage contract. Back then, she looked at him like he was just a cheap piece of merchandise. Her eyes held nothing but icy calculation, so how could she say this? But she keeps talking. Her voice drips with a sick, obsessive delusion as she talks about him fighting for her, beating down anyone who dared to bully her. She whispers that he is the only man she ever wanted. He completely freezes up. What is she talking about? Fighting? And what about Ji Boxiao? She suddenly lets out a chilling, crazy laugh. Her voice is filled with pure, unadulterated disgust as she calls him a useless piece of trash. He is weak, pathetic, a total joke. She mocks her past self, saying she must have been blind to ever like a guy like that. Just a cheap con artist who was only after her money and status. Did he really think she did not know he was trying to seduce her without any self-respect? She licks his cheek while speaking, and he can only lie there completely paralyzed with fear. Her eyes are filled with a terrifying cult-like obsession, like she finally owns her ultimate prize. "Only a guy like you is qualified to be my man," she says. Lin Xuan's mind is completely spinning. That sends shivers down his spine, but her next words are low-key even more terrifying. "I finally have you all to myself," she whispers, "and before I even claimed you." She got to watch the exact show she wanted, laughing maniacally. That creepy laugh echoes through the silent basement. It has been 3 long years. "Lin Xuan, do you know how long I waited? Turns out that loser Ji Boxiao was actually useful." The moment he came back, she knew she had her chance. She could finally watch her favorite hero beat people up for her again.
Do you even realize, Lin Xuan? Right in front of my eyes.
You folded Ji Boxiao like a dog for me. I was literally screaming with excitement inside. Boom. Lin Xuan's mind is completely shattered by this crazy plot twist. Ji Boxiao picking fights was never a coincidence. Lin Xuan was just a fool.
He walked straight into a trap. This girl was literally playing director the whole time.
And Lin Xuan was just her main character, forced to put on a violent show.
A tragic puppet in her sick game, but she says her only regret was that last kick. Looking genuinely disappointed, she brings up the kick that almost ended Ji Boxiao.
She could only watch that masterpiece through the security cameras, and she just could not resist.
Seeing that peak yandere look of madness on her face is genuinely chilling.
Absolute dread runs down his spine. After nearly 2 hours of this nightmare,
Lin Xuan just closes his eyes, lacking the strength to even move a finger.
after a while, she seems to have rested enough. She sits up, getting ready to lock him back up like she always does.
But just as she gets up, her expression instantly changes, and she suddenly covers her mouth.
She's frowning hard, looking like she is about to throw up.
Next second, she bolts off the bed and runs straight for the basement door.
Her high heels click rapidly against the floor, fading into the distance.
The heavy metal door slams shut, and the entire basement goes dead silent. Back to that suffocating quiet, Lin Xuan lies there, gasping for air. His entire body feels completely broken. After a long time,
He finally registers that she is gone. Plus, in her frantic rush earlier, she actually unlocked his handcuffs during her manic episode.
and because of her sudden sickness, she totally forgot to lock them back.
Lin Xuan slowly raises his arm. The cold iron chain hangs loose.
Wait, she actually forgot? A massive surge of adrenaline hits him. This is his moment.
This is his only shot at survival, but he does not dare to move yet. He holds his breath, listening closely in case she suddenly doubles back.
Time ticks away. Nothing but silence.
Fighting through the extreme fatigue in his completely drained body, he forces himself to rest and recover. Every second is pure torture. 2 hours later, he finally regains a tiny bit of strength. Sitting up slowly, he starts working on the damn shackles on his ankles. These ones are way tougher than the handcuffs. He starts searching the dark room. He manages to find a metal bracket she dropped earlier while changing a light bulb. Sweat drips down his forehead, stinging his eyes with a burning itch. Another 2 hours pass. Then, a soft click. His shackles finally slide off, and he stumbles onto his feet. He rushes toward the door out of this hell, but reality crushes his hopes immediately. It is locked with a high-tech electronic system he has never seen before. He runs back, tearing the room apart to find any usable tools. He bashes the door repeatedly. Nothing works. The door is like a solid wall, but in despair, he feels a piece of rubber. It is a hard piece of plastic rubber fallen from some unknown object. It is the size of a credit card, just like those escape scenes in movies.
Just slide a card in and it pops open, which sounds pretty absurd.
But with no other choice, he slides the rubber card into the door gap. He slides it 100 times until his arms feel like they are breaking. Starving and parched, his throat burns like it is literally on fire. Just as he is about to give up and wait for death on the bed, a tiny click, barely audible, echoes from inside the door lock. The sound comes right from the lock, and his body instantly jolts. Ecstatic, he thinks he is a total genius and grabs the handle. Pulling with every bit of strength he has, the door only cracks open slightly. But just as he pushes it, a massive force from outside slams it back. Bro, ain't no way. That damn white handkerchief is back already? That familiar sweet scent instantly covers his mouth and nose, suffocating him. Before he can even glimpse her face, he slips right back into the darkness. As he collapses, he falls directly into a very familiar embrace. The sweet-scented embrace of none other than Liu Ruyan. His mind feels like it is being dragged out of a thick, heavy swamp. In the dark, that familiar sweet scent instantly makes his scalp tingle again. He has not even opened his eyes yet, but he already feels something is wrong. The heavy weight on his limbs feels more than double what it was before. He snaps his eyes open. Dim light. He sees cold, dark metal shackles tightly binding both his wrists and ankles.
The chains are a whole lot thicker now, covered in fresh, shiny scratches.
Like black vipers, they hold him down, while Liu Ruyan lies directly on top of him.
She is resting her head on his chest like a lazy, pampered cat. Her fingers trace his cheek, and she smiles as she sees him waking up.
Looking up, those gorgeous eyes of hers carry a dark look. She is wearing that same familiar, dangerous smile that chills his bones. She calls him hubby in a soft voice, which is low-key terrifying. But the words pierce like ice as she asks if he was trying to escape. Her cold fingers slide across his lips, asking why he would do that.
She asks if a beauty like her cannot keep him from wanting the outside world. Leaning closer, she whispers that he must remember how dangerous the outside world is.
Her warm breath hits his face as she delivers each word clearly. She whispers that only she truly loves him, while he clenches his teeth. His chest heaves up and down, but he cannot utter a single word. He is drowning in the absolute humiliation of his failed escape and pure despair. Liu Ruyan looks totally satisfied with his shattered expression, her smirk growing as she tells him to stay right there. Stay and be with her and the baby. And honestly, that one word hits him like an absolute bomb. It completely blows his mind. He freezes completely, staring straight at her in absolute disbelief.
Thinking his ears are playing tricks on him, he asks what she just said.
His voice is completely dry and cracking as he repeats the word baby. Meanwhile, on Liu Ruyan's face, that terrifying psycho look instantly vanishes. Instead, it is replaced by
this bizarrely innocent, excited expression, just like a little kid who did something good.
And is waiting to be praised. She nods her head eagerly.
Her eyes are literally sparkling as she confirms it. Yes, his baby.
She even says it with this weirdly proud, bragging tone,
saying it is the result of their hard work over the past month. But then, just like that, her innocent face vanishes. She instantly snaps back into that dark-eyed, insanely possessive psycho she really is.
She narrows her eyes dangerously. Seriously, this seamless transition between personalities is actually wild. It sends a massive chill straight down his spine, and his mind is completely scrambled. Forcing himself to hold on to his last bit of sanity, he asks if she actually went to the hospital to confirm it. Well, obviously, she says, proudly raising her eyebrows.
She looks like a peacock that just won a major fight, bragging that she just got the news. She rushed right back to share the amazing news, only to open the door and find out.
Her eyes go completely ice cold as she grips his chin even harder.
She caught a certain heartless man trying to sneak out.
To abandon a mother and her child, this completely leaves him speechless. His heart feels like it is being squeezed by an invisible hand, sinking straight into his stomach. A baby. She is actually pregnant. This heavy reality is even worse than the thick chains on his wrists, completely crushing his last hope of escape.
He tries to force himself to calm down, just breathe and think.
Now that there is a kid involved, escaping this crazy situation is going to be virtually impossible.
He closes his eyes, refusing to look at her gorgeous but utterly insane face. His mind is racing like a tangled mess of wires.
Everything Liu Ruyan said earlier starts replaying in his head on a constant loop. 3 years ago, she was already obsessed with him back then. He tries to remember. Slowly, a blurry, forgotten memory from the back of his mind begins to surface. It goes back to when he just graduated from college. He was a finance major with absolutely zero background or connections to his name. Graduation basically meant instant unemployment. That decent degree of his? Completely worthless in the real world. To survive, he took a part-time job as a bar waiter, and 3 years ago was exactly when he graduated. He was dirt poor back then. Now he is desperately digging through his old memories, searching for any clue, any hint. Finally, a memory he had tried his best to forget. A messy, chaotic moment from a dusty corner of his mind gets dragged right back into the light. Back when he just graduated, a finance major with zero connections or background. The whole graduation means unemployment thing was painfully real, just to put food on the table. He ended up working as a part-time waiter in a busy local bar.
That night, the bar was loud and chaotic as usual.
Our boy was weaving through the crowd with a tray when he spotted something. Over in a corner booth, there are several sketchy punks with brightly dyed hair. They are completely surrounding this poor girl and throwing nasty comments at her. Their hands were getting grabby and she was clearly way too drunk to defend herself.
Her face was flushed, eyes glazed.
She was totally limp and could only weakly try to push them back. Complete hot-headed moment. He was just a hot-blooded college kid back then, so no shot he was letting this slide. He dropped his tray, no hesitation. He pulled the girl right behind him to protect her, yelling at them to back off. He snaps at them, asking what kind of men bully a girl, and they actually freeze. But then they just sneered and surrounded our boy right in the middle of the bar. Instant chaos. They had the numbers.
He takes a few heavy hits immediately, his lips splitting open in a stinging flash of pain.
But he's built different and refuses to back down while trying to play the hero. I mean, getting beaten to death halfway through saving a girl would be way too embarrassing. Pure rage flares up inside him, and his adrenaline completely spikes. Rage mode activated. Defense completely abandoned. It's a pure survival match now, trading blows and putting his life on the line. If they land a punch, he takes it on the chin just to kick them back. Honestly, that crazy level of desperation actually starts to terrify the punks.
Eventually, they all scurry off, cursing, but our boy is in rough shape too. His face is covered in bruises, his nose bleeding, and his shirt completely torn up. He instinctively looks away, not wanting the girl to see how messed up he is.
Trying to be the silent hero, mostly because he looks way too embarrassing right now.
He didn't even dare look back at her, choosing to just limp away into the night.
Game over. Fired that very night. Jobless once again. But about 2 weeks later, things take a weird turn. He gets a mysterious phone call out of nowhere. And that is how he ended up signing that cursed marriage agreement with Liu Ruyan. Instant shivers down his spine. The timing, the location, the whole cause and effect, they all fit. Bro, every single clue connects right now, meaning this was never an accident. She wanted him from day one. He glares up at Liu Ruyan, who is practically pinning him down, his voice cracking from sheer shock. In a raspy voice, he asks if she was that girl from the bar as she slowly lifts her head. A flash of ultimate triumph and cunning gleams inside her gorgeous eyes. Her lips curve into a wild, twisted smile as she tells him he finally remembers. Tracing his lips with her finger, she speaks with a chilling sense of dark playfulness. Now that he remembers, she whispers, he can never escape. His heart completely sinks. But how can he even run? Trying to fight her head-on failed miserably before. It only got him locked up in even heavier chains. She literally drugged and kidnapped him. He has absolutely zero doubts that if he triggers her again, she will genuinely break his legs. And worse, she's still holding all the cards. She is pregnant, and honestly, it does not even matter if the kid is his. With how insanely obsessive she is, she will definitely use this baby. With how insanely obsessive she is, she will definitely use this baby. Legally and emotionally, they will never be able to break apart. Our boy has to stay calm here. Fighting back directly is useless. He has to play nice. A real man knows when to yield. Survival comes first, then the payback. He closes his eyes to reset. When he opens them, the sheer panic and rage are completely gone. Instead, he forces a helpless, defeated smile. Honestly, his acting is top tier. He keeps his voice light, basically saying if he cannot run, he won't. He shrugs nonchalantly, telling her a real man takes responsibility. So he will stay right here to look after her and the baby. Liu Ruyan narrows her eyes like a predator sizing up its prey. Her eyes are pure suspicion as she leans in to study his face. She is looking for any sign of a lie, still not fully buying it. Her freezing fingertips trace his neck, giving him absolute chills. Her voice drops to sub-zero, warning him that he better be telling the truth. If he lies, she threatens to literally break both of his legs. She wants him locked in this room forever. Talk about a massive red flag. His heart stops, but he keeps that submissive, defeated look plastered on. She loves seeing him submit. Once the threats are done, Her mood flips. All her aggression melts away as she rests her head back on his chest. She snuggles up like a harmless kitten, whispering softly against his neck.
She whispers that he is her absolute favorite person in the world.
She claims she does not want to hurt him, but has no choice. She blames him for disobeying and trying to run away. She complains about him leaving as her voice fades into a soft whisper. Her breathing slows down as she gets sleepier and sleepier.
Just like that, this absolute menace actually falls asleep in his arms.
He freezes, feeling her warm breath while smelling her familiar scent. His mind is racing with survival plans, but exhaustion eventually takes over. The next morning, he wakes up to complete silence. The bed is completely empty. Liu Ruyan is already gone. He moves his wrists, but there is no sound of heavy chains clanking. He sits up instantly and looks down in disbelief. His wrists and ankles are completely bare. The heavy chains are gone. His heart skips a beat.
A wild mix of hope and absolute dread washes over him.
Is this another sick test? Barefoot, he slowly steps onto the floor. For the first time in weeks, he is standing on his own feet. Free to move inside the basement dungeon that has kept him trapped. His heart is pounding against his chest. He gently pushes the heavy door. Unbelievable! The door actually swings open, revealing a hidden staircase going up. He quietly sneaks up the stairs and opens the door at the very top. He steps through and finds himself in a very familiar place, Ruyan's study. That massive mahogany bookshelf, the expensive leather sofa,
And that faint scent of ink. He froze, right in his tracks.
this hidden room was the exact hell where she had kept him locked up. It was hidden right behind her office bookshelf. He had lived here for 3 years. He had been in this study countless times, but never noticed a thing. Talk about chilling! When did she even start building this place? The thought sent shivers down his spine. Suddenly, the door clicked open. Liu Ruyan stepped inside. She was wearing cozy loungewear, flashing him a warm, gentle smile. Like a perfectly normal wife, she casually walked over to grab his hand. Her touch sent warmth through his skin, but his soul felt absolutely frozen. She asked if he was hungry, her eyes curving into sweet little crescents. Time to eat. To survive, he began playing the ultimate devoted husband. He did it for that unborn baby, a tiny life that felt more like a shackle. Plus, he wanted to keep his legs intact, so he handed his company over. He left the corporate grind to become a full-time house husband instead. Soon, Liu Ruyan developed some wild pregnancy cravings. One day, she wanted sour. The next day, she demanded spicy. He literally had to improvise daily. He constantly searched the internet for special recipes to keep her healthy. Honestly, he was terrified of messing up. Today, she wanted sweet and sour fish. It had to be completely authentic, so he grabbed his apron. He stepped into a kitchen larger than his actual corporate office. He began prepping a freshly imported sea bass while she watched from her chair. She smiled warmly, staring at his back with a gaze as soft as water.
Like he was her beloved husband, not a prisoner she just released.
It is actually wild how fast she switches up, but morning sickness hit her hard. Every morning, he prepared fresh soda water and lemon slices for her. Then he drove her to work, watching her walk into her massive office building. Only then could he handle his own business, wrapping up early every single afternoon. He would drive back to her office, often waiting right inside her executive suite. He even helped review basic paperwork so she could go home early. Her employees went from looking at him with utter shock to acting completely normal. Honestly, they actually seemed pretty jealous of him. They probably figured their famously cold president, Liu Ruyan, was finally softened by a loving husband. But only he knew the dark truth. The insane, terrifying reality lurking beneath this picture-perfect romance. Over time, she became incredibly dependent on him, borderline clingy. She followed him everywhere like a shadow. If he reviewed documents, she would sit right beside him. If he cooked, she wrapped her arms around his waist. That toxic, suffocating possessiveness seemed to soften under her pregnancy hormones, replacing her dark obsession with sheer affection. This shift is low-key heartbreaking. Watching her sleep so peacefully, he actually fell into a brief illusion. Maybe she really changed. Maybe they could actually live a normal life. They started acting like a real couple, hitting the mall every weekend. She would browse the endless shelves with genuine excitement. She grabs 2 matching cartoon pajamas, one of them a goofy gray wolf, and the other is Red Wolf holding it up against him.
Look, babe, doesn't this look like us? She giggles with crescent eyes.
He stares in the mirror, looking completely helpless in those pajamas. He smirks. Sure, you're Red Wolf, always carrying a frying pan. She doesn't even get mad, just resting her head on his shoulder. Laughing even happier, they hold hands like a normal couple. Sitting in a theater watching some boring romance movie. Sharing a squid skewer at the night market, she drinks his boba, while he eats her half-bitten takoyaki, a sweetness that feels terrifyingly real. He low-key loves this rare warmth, but his guard never drops. That night, they read in bed, with her snuggling in his arms. Suddenly, she grabs his hand and presses it against her belly. "Can you feel that?" she whispers softly. Before he can even ask, a faint sensation taps his palm. A tiny, gentle flutter, like a little fish blowing a bubble inside. He completely freezes. This is it, the baby kicking.
He looks down at Liu Ruyan, and she is looking up.
In those gorgeous eyes, there is a look he has never seen.
A mix of motherly warmth and pure hope. He is genuinely shaken. A wave of complicated emotions hits him hard for this little life. Honestly, he isn't heartless. That tiny kick really got to him. It feels like a direct knock on his heart, making it real. A child with his own blood, but this bond feels like a new shackle, trapping him forever. The days pass in this calm yet eerie atmosphere. Everything is peaceful until a business partner drops by his office.
The manager is a super sharp professional woman.
After their meeting, they chat in the hallway for a bit.
She smiles and hands him her business card to stay in touch.
Just as he politely takes it, he turns and spots her. Liu Ruyan is standing right there, watching in absolute silence. Her usual sweet smile is there, but those eyes are dead. Staring straight at that business card, completely devoid of warmth. The air literally freezes. The partner feels the crazy shift in energy. She laughs awkwardly, quickly makes an excuse, and runs. Only then does Liu Ruyan slowly walk right up to him. No yelling, no questions. She just extends her slender fingers.
She gently slides the card out of his hand, and then, right before him,
with the most elegant posture, she tears that business card, shredding it into tiny little pieces. She leans close to his ear, whispering like a sweet lover in a voice only he can hear, "Babe, have you been too obedient lately? It's making me almost forget that the basement's actually pretty spacious. Talk about final boss energy."
Ever since that day, her warning about the basement plays on loop,
ringing in his ears for days. Yeah, he completely behaves now. He was behaving better than ever, and she seemed pretty satisfied with his obedience. She never brought up that incident again, letting the days pass in this weird, eerie silence. Time was flying, and before they knew it, Liu Ruyan's belly was swelling up like a balloon. It was so fast that her due date arrived, and they suddenly rushed straight to the hospital. Outside the delivery room, he paced back and forth in the hallway like a total nervous wreck. The bright red surgery light was shining down on him, looking like a giant staring eye. It made him completely panic, his mind absolute chaos with a million different emotions. On one hand, he was excited for the baby, but on the other, he actually worried for that crazy woman inside. Mostly, though, he was just lost thinking about his own future, until the delivery room door suddenly swung open. A nurse stepped out, and he immediately dashed forward without losing a single second. His throat was bone dry as he gasped out, asking how his wife was doing. The nurse pulled down her mask, showing a tired but very relieved smile.
She congratulated him, saying both mother and daughter were perfectly safe, hitting him like a wave of pure relief. All his anxiety and dread instantly melted away as he let out a massive sigh of relief. His legs felt like jelly, but then the nurse handed over that tiny, fragile bundle. Looking at his wrinkled little daughter, his heart felt like it was hit by a massive wave of emotion. A sudden,
overwhelming feeling. She was just so incredibly tiny. Her eyes were shut tight and her little mouth was making these adorable tiny sucking motions. He decided to call her Xiao Yue, and looking at her, all his survival schemes and defensive walls, all that fear just completely melted away, giving him a feeling he had never experienced in his life.
It was a deep, primal connection of blood, and during Liu Ruyan's postpartum recovery,
he completely transformed into an ultimate super dad, handling diapers and mixing baby formula like a pro. From burping to putting her to sleep, he went from totally panicking to mastering it all. He was constantly running around, while Li Ruyan spent most of her time propped up in bed, quietly watching him take care of their daughter and that trademark madness in her eyes, along with her intense possessiveness, had actually started to fade away, replaced by a gentle warmth he had never seen on her face before, almost making him hallucinate at times. It made him feel like they were just a normal, deeply loving couple. Once Xiao Yu turned 1 month old, Liu Ruyan took him and the baby back to her family home. Her parents already knew about him, and they had never really treated him poorly before. But now, with a brand new granddaughter, their overwhelming hospitality was almost too much to handle. While visiting his in-laws, he played the role of the perfect son-in-law to absolute perfection. He actively helped his mother-in-law in the kitchen, chopping veggies and washing dishes without being asked. Then he played chess with his father-in-law, keeping both of them laughing and completely charmed. Honestly, this was pure survival instinct, a masterclass he had perfected over years of staying alive. After dinner, his father-in-law called him into the study, patting his shoulder to tell him, Lena, that Ruyan was terribly spoiled growing up, so her temper could get a little bit weird. He asked him to be patient with her, as his mother-in-law quickly chimed in, agreeing.
she begged him to just forgive Ruyan if she ever did anything wrong.
He listened patiently, wearing what looked like the absolute most perfect, gentle smile. But inside, he was screaming. She is not just quirky, she is a straight-up yandere. We are talking about the type who locks you in a basement with literal iron chains. Inwardly, though, he assured them with absolute sincerity, telling them not to worry at all, because Ruyan and him got along perfectly and were basically a match made in heaven. Once they got back home, he officially became a total, absolute slave to his baby daughter.
Whenever he gets a free second, he is holding baby Xiao Yu to make her laugh. Singing out-of-tune nursery rhymes to her, his heart completely melts.
Just look at him. He kisses her soft cheek, but suddenly Liu Ruyan hugs him tightly from behind. Resting her chin right on his shoulder, she acts incredibly dramatic and playfully jealous. She pouts. Laughing, he turns around to wrap both his wife and baby in a warm embrace. He kisses her forehead, telling them both that they are his entire world. Content. Her gorgeous eyes curve into sweet crescents as she stares up at him. That familiar warmth is there, but her next words make his heart skip a beat. Honey, seeing how much you love her, I want to give you a surprise. A huge surprise. Honestly, since the baby was born, his whole world has been formula and diapers. Holding her feels like cradling the most precious, delicate treasure in the universe. Completely whipped. Then, one afternoon, he is frantically struggling to change a messy diaper. Little feet kick his arms while Liu Ruyan quietly creeps up behind him. Whispering right into his ear, she playfully tells him she has a special gift to show him. He ignores her. Still focused on his diaper duties, he tells her he is way too busy. But she insists he will absolutely love it, promising it is incredibly satisfying. She wraps her arms tightly around his waist and starts begging him to come along. Please? Pleading over and over, she rubs her face against his back like a cat. Our guy knows there is absolutely no way to win an argument when she gets like this. No choice. He finally gives in, buckling into the passenger seat while holding their sleeping daughter. She sleeps peacefully. Liu Ruyan starts the engine, humming a cheerful little tune as they drive off. The city streets blur past the car window while he looks down at his sleeping girl. Staring at her quiet face, a strange, heavy premonition begins to settle in. Why here? Seriously, why on earth did she bring him to a sweaty boxing gym? Stepping inside, the sharp smell of old leather and heavy disinfectant hits them. Loud thuds echo. Heavy punches slam into sandbags alongside a trainer's hoarse, angry shouting.
Liu Ruyan confidently leads him deeper into the facility, stopping right before a private ring.
And standing right there in the ring is a familiar face, Ji Boxiao. He is wearing boxing gear, hands stuffed into bright red gloves. Zero toughness.
The exact second he spots our main character, his knees visibly start to shake. It is a pure, bone-deep terror that the poor guy cannot even begin to hide.
Spot anyone familiar?
Gently taking the baby, her smile becomes incredibly bright and deeply terrifying.
She bounces her little daughter in her arms, gesturing with her chin toward Ji Boxiao.
And with a casual, almost sickeningly cruel voice, she tells him to look.
She tells him he can beat the guy up again, warning him to hit extra hard.
She says she literally closed a massive deal just to get this guy as his sparring partner. Asking if it is a nice surprise? Surprise? No, he only feels a sudden chill.
A cold shiver runs straight up his spine. Honestly, this toxic wife is pure psycho.
He stares at her, then looks at Ji Boxiao shivering on the stage like a leaf.
He is completely speechless. Apparently, being on his best behavior lately just bored her.
Because she was bored, she is forcing him to beat someone to a pulp again.
Reluctantly, under Liu Ruyan's constant urging, he accepts his fate and slips off his jacket. The staff hands him a pair of black boxing gloves. Talk about a forced match. He slowly puts them on and steps into the ring, making Ji Boxiao turn completely pale.
The poor guy is practically begging with his eyes, absolutely consumed by pure terror. It is like he is facing a bloodthirsty beast that is about to tear him apart.
Our guy does not even bother getting into a stance, just casually throwing a few punches. The wind howls with each swing, even though he is barely putting any effort in. But Ji Boxiao is already scared out of his mind, barely raising his arms to block. One solid punch connects with his cheek, sending him crashing flat on his back. He is knocked out cold instantly. Honestly, even the coach is completely stunned by this. Standing in the ring, he looks down at Liu Ruyan cradling their daughter. She is actually enjoying the show, which makes him feel both disgusted and deeply pathetic. She gently sways little Xiao Yuyu, watching this absolute circus of a fight unfold. All while talking to her swaddled daughter in the most chillingly gentle voice imaginable. Giving a literal masterclass in parenting, telling Xiao Yuyu to remember this lesson.
She tells the baby to grow up strong and unyielding, just like her father. Then her voice pauses, and she slowly shifts her gaze back toward him.
Her lips curl into that familiar, sickeningly toxic smile. This woman is dangerously unhinged.
She whispers that the baby must never cling to her dad, otherwise Mom will get jealous.
Yes, Mom will get jealous, and then she leans down close to her.
Pressing her lips right against the baby's ear, she whispers in a dreamy, hypnotic tone.
She mutters the exact words that make the husband's entire blood supply turn to ice. She whispers that Daddy would go to the dark room, which is no forgotten nightmare. Instead, it is a permanent sword of Damocles hanging directly over his head. He rips off his boxing gloves, throws them down, and steps out of the ring. Forcing on a perfect husband smile, he calls out to his beautiful wife and daughter. His voice is quiet, telling her it is time to go home. Yet it echoes clearly through the noisy gym. He promises to cook dinner,
Offering to make her favorite braised sea bass and prep the baby's favorite milk.